What do you think are the few biggest keys to sports betting? Let's say that someone actually wants to try to be in that 1%. Is there kind of a quick 5-minute roadmap? Obviously, you don't have all the details, and there's context and nuance and judgment and all this kind of stuff that comes into play. If you had to give some overarching principles, what would they be?
I mean, research. You got to put the work in. And now, even with like sports betting in general, with the NFL, there's ESPN analytics, whatever the case is. So there's a lot of information available. If you do the research and if you're, I think, very disciplined with your bankroll management, because that is the thing. We all overdo the bankroll management. That is, I mean, people are the bettors that are listening to the show are gonna be like, oh man, everybody says bankroll management.
But that's to me the number one thing, right?
It is. It really is, because you can survive those bad times if you stick to your bankroll management, more so than just blowing your load, so to speak, on one big play that you think is a sure lock.
Right.
Even like following sharps. And I'm saying following sharps because that's a real thing as well. Like a lot of the industry, a lot of bettors out there, they have different screens. So there's different software providers. There's different line aggregate services and whatnot that you could see in real time the lines moving. And there's certain sports books that are sharper than others. So if you kind of can figure out which books are sharper than the kind of more recreational books. I mean, that's telling as well sometimes. So I would put in the research if you can. There's a place called Don Best, but again, they charge you I think maybe $500 a month for their service, which isn't bad. Depends on again what your bankroll is.
It depends on what you're betting, right?
Yeah. So, but $500 could be a little steep too.
That's
maybe
$6,000 a year. Yeah.
There's also they changed the name, but it was Spank Odds. Now I think it's
Spank Odds.
Spank Odds.
Okay.
Spanky, the guy, the gentleman behind Spank Odds, again, he changed the name recently as well.
Okay.
But behind the Spank Odds is one of the best bettors in the world. One of the biggest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So this guy's phenomenal. So he's got a screen basically set up. Like I know you guys have been to probably like Best Fight Odds or FightOdds.io.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's something like that, but on steroids for sports bettors. It's like
heavy data.
Yes.
This is where Yanni's and you guys are getting a lot of your deep insights.
Yeah. And again, you could just see real-time markets moving from all over the world. You could see where these sports books are going. And again, the sharper books are going to be ahead of the curve because they're getting hit. A lot of the sharper books they don't mind taking sharp action. Well, even those guys, they get bothered from time to time, but they'll absorb the sharp action because they let that sharp action kind of mold the decision they're going to make. So if you have a line setter, for example, and then all of a sudden, so if I'm on one side of things, like I like this guy in a fight, and then all of a sudden 2 or 3 sharps that are verified sharps come in on that side as well, and they agree, then you can put your foot down a little bit stronger in a case like that.
Move the odds to where you start getting action on the other side open.
So you almost want those sharp bettors to come in, because then if you can control it, then you will end up getting more money on the other side, and then hopefully you'll be profitable by following that sort of pattern. Now, not everybody can do that.
Right.
There's books that shy away right away from it. So for me, I would kind of look into even the screens like FightOdds.io. If you want to use a free one, for example, you go to FightOdds.io for the MMA UFC betting, and you can look at some of the sharper books. You're going to probably be able to tell which ones are sharper. Like out there's the Pinnacles of this world, Pinnacle Sports. It's an offshore book. A lot of these books that I'm talking about right now are probably not going to be widely available because some of them are just international only. Some books you got a VPN in. There's a lot of tricks to the trade or whatnot. But Pinnacle's a sharp one. There's a book out there called Paradise Wagers, very sharp. Bet 105 is another one. So there's a lot of offshore places that are on FightOdds.io that you can actually see. And then if they're sticking out glaringly, you can tell. And then the DraftKings of the world are going to be behind those guys. The FanDuels of the world are going to be behind these guys a little bit. So that's when if you're able to access those accounts and you see, like, for example, Pinnacle Sports, man, they're super high on this favorite. DraftKings is still low on this. I mean, that could be something, just line shopping and seeing where, the sharper books are ahead of the curve. Maybe you take a little dabble there with your bankroll management. That could be some way to start off a little bit sooner to get sharper educated as far as betting goes. But again, you have to weather that storm because that line, so Pinnacle might be right this time. They might be wrong the next 3.
Right.
You're like, oh, so you got to be able to absorb that and weather the storm 100% before you do it.